All right, so here is going to be how we're going to start opening our company file for the very first time using an existing portable file. So again, when you're back here at this home page in this main screen, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So when you're back here at your home screen, right? We already explored what it's like to open up a new company. Now you don't have to always open up a new company every single time. So we're gonna go ahead and select the middle section, which allows us to open up an existing company file. Now again, we went over this on Monday, yesterday. We went over the 3 different types of files that exist in QuickBooks, okay? So, for example, I have a data file. I also have a backup file or a portable file. So all the files that you downloaded for student practices purposes only are all portable files. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click restore a portable file. Okay, when you click next, now the next question is going to ask you to locate this portable file. So I already actually have it in my documents under the school name, under accounting, QuickBooks, and it's going to be under QuickBooks. Excuse me, QuickBooks portable files, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and go into the classroom files, and we are opening up, I believe it's Setup 2008, Setup 18, okay? When I double click that, now it's going to ask me, I need to select a place to save my file or to create and open up my working data file. So that's where when I press next is where I need to save the file. So again, I've already created a company file for you guys. Most things that it will start off is it's going to go to straight to your C drive. So never make sure that you toggle this beforehand because you can never save anything on the C drive unless you are the administrator of the computer. Okay. Let me find my documents. Here it is. Documents, LVPTA, accounting, QuickBooks class, QuickBooks portable file, PM QuickBooks January 4th. So here it is. I'm going to go ahead and save it here. And then now it's going to start opening it up and expanding the actual working data file. So this is the file that I can use to enter in transactions, delete transactions, whatever it is that you want to do, okay? And remember, the portable files, you can never change them, okay? Once they're set the way they are and you open it up again, it's going to act as if whatever part that you left off of when you saved the portable file in the first place. So it never changes, okay? Only the working data file, it changes. So I'm going to show you how to create a company portable file after we made changes, okay? So now that it has opened up and everything, now it's going to ask you for the password, okay? In your book, it will tell you the password every single time. So in this case, it's Sleeter18. That's capital S Leeter 18, okay? And it is case sensitive, so make sure you know it's capital S, and then go ahead and click OK. I think, yes, my cap locks are on, so I need to redo that, okay? So capital Sleeter 18, and then I click OK. So this only happens if you're opening a company file that is in a sense old or outdated, okay? But for you guys, when you download your 2018, you shouldn't run into this problem unless when you download the 2018, you download the most recent release of 2018, okay? But in this case, I am working with 2019, which is a completely different program. However, so what I got to do is I have to update my program so that everything is up to date with its functions and everything, okay? So basically, I'm making this file become a 2018 to become a 2019 file. So I'm going to go ahead and click update. once my update has completed, okay, then I can go ahead and get started. Okay, so you absolutely need to have the internet for your QuickBooks files to update. So make sure that you cannot work on a file at all if there's no internet at all. Okay, so there you go. Now it says that you're all set, and go ahead and click done. Now what's gonna always happen is it's gonna always ask you to log into your account. In this case, it doesn't matter for if you do log in. Again, if you are using a personal file or a company file that's actually yours, recommendation is if you are willing to allow Intuit to have access to it, then go ahead and sign in. But in this case, these are their own portable files that they provided for us. So in this case, I can just close out and everything should open up. So as we wait for the home page, the main page to load up, usually the yellow bars just indicate any updates or new features. So again, here's a new scope of new features that are added into this new QuickBooks. But again, if you close that, the yellow just tells you what's new to this file that is actually updated on here. But eventually they will disappear. Okay, and here I am. That's how you open up a company file. So there's actually pretty much a lot of hoops that you have to go through. You can never open in a company file by going to your documents and double clicking on the actual file. No, it doesn't work that way. Reason being is because, again, it's a secure file. You need to actually have the program open and have it be able to unveil itself. Okay, so just a rule of thumb there. Okay. So once this is all set up and ready to go, that is where you can go ahead and get started with whatever problem that you are asked in the book. Okay, so here we are. We pulled up Setup 18. All right, and now we're going to be setting up our chart of accounts. So first things first is before I even go on forth to talk about this, so what the chart of accounts is, you need to create your chart of accounts before you can enter in any transaction, okay? This is the number one rule for all and most accounting itself is you need a place to be able to sort out your information and understand where how does this transaction affect your business? How are you going to sort the information and where are you going to categorize it? So this is where we're going to talk about the same things that we've talked about earlier, right? What are account types? Account types are, you have a total of 5 main accounts. Your assets, which is everything that you own, that you possess. And then your liabilities are going to be everything that you owe, whether it's a payment, a loan. Your equity is going to be reflecting the total value of your company, all right? Your income is things that you generate with, like such as sales. And then lastly, your expenses are things that is going to cost you to be part of, the part of the main operations of your company. Okay, so understanding those 5 account types, when we actually look at our chart of accounts, it is in order based on account type. Okay, and then here is the first thing that's going to ask you is, well, you need to activate account number. So let's go ahead and take a look at our chart of accounts and let's actually analyze it. Okay, so there are 2 ways. There are 2 main ways that you can get to the chart of accounts. All right, on the home page, if you look onto the far right corner, upper right corner, you're going to see there's a little icon that says chart of accounts. okay? Second way you can do that is going to lists, okay? If you go to the list on the menu bar, first thing you're going to see is the chart of accounts. So those are just the two main ones that are actually visible. Obviously, you can go to your company or you can create your favorites menu. You can also create an icon on the icon bar. But we'll talk about that tomorrow when we can customize our layout of the actual QuickBooks. But just for now, the ones that are already set in stone and that's visible is going to be the home page and the list on the menu bar, a chart of accounts. So as you can see, here we are at the chart of accounts. Again, we took a brief look at this in chapter 1. The chart of accounts is organized based, I'm confusing the classes. We will take a look at this, okay? So here, the chart of accounts, it's based on account type. As you notice, they are in order based on account type. As you can see, I gotta actually pull my window. Actually, I gotta pull it more to the right for you guys to left, so you guys can see everything. So again, everything is in order based on account type. So my assets are first; they're at the very top. We have my liabilities right here in the middle. You got your equity accounts down here, your equity accounts. And then, of course, your income and then your expenses are all down here. Now, notice on the right side, you have account balances. Notice that how come only my assets and my liabilities and my equity have account balances? And this is where I was talking to you guys about that only these type of accounts have registers, an ongoing number that's going to constantly be revised every single time. Whereas your income and your revenue, your income and your expenses, they are called quick reports. So we'll talk about that when we dive into actual reports in chapter 6. But they don't have registers is because they are our temporary accounts. They close out at the end of the given period, right? You don't really need to care to have a balance for them. Whereas your permanent accounts, which is your assets, liabilities, and equity, they tend to not be able to be closed. For example, your bank account. If you close your bank account, you're closing your business in general. So you always need to have that always open at all times. Same thing for liabilities, right? If you owe somebody money, just because you close it out, you still owe them money at the end of the day. So, yes, so they have what's called registers. And we'll talk about entering transactions into registers on Thursday when we start writing checks and stuff like that. Okay, so again, everything is going to be organized based on account type. So assets first, all the way down to expenses. Now, notice this. Notice that on the left side of the panel, you don't see any account numbers. And remember, it is a personal preference, especially for whatever accounting or company that you work for. Do they like to use account numbers? Do they prefer to use account numbers? Do account numbers even help, facilitate the transaction at hand? Sometimes it can. So when we did Coffee Cafe, oftentimes you recognize, checking is always 10-100. Checking is always 10-100. So the immediate thought was you already associated 10-100 as checking. And you already know checking is an asset. So when we think about that, usually the numbers actually help you, in a sense, it does help you kind of put your transactions in order and sorted and makes you easier to sort. But in this case, we're looking at this chart of accounts that doesn't use account numbers, okay? Which is completely fine. If you use account numbers, then, again, it only helps you in the long run. So in this case, I'm going to show you how to even turn it on because by default, it will not be used. So you have to turn them on. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that real quick. And in order to do that, I'm going to go to my edits on my menu bar and I'm going to go to preferences. Okay. Once I'm at this, once this window pops up, I'm going to go to accounting. And I'm going to hit company preferences, or in this case, company preferences. First thing I see is under accounts is use account numbers. Okay. Now, because I didn't, I turned on my account numbers now. If I want to have a certain pattern, I can go back and edit the account numbers. But because I have them all laid out and now I'm activating my account numbers, it's going to automatically assign those accounts with numbers. So it's going to create a pattern or some kind of number sequence that is going to be created. So I'm going to hit my chart of accounts, and boom. If you look on the left side, you have account numbers. Okay. As you can see, all my assets are going to be the 10,000s. All my liabilities are going to be 20,000s, and so on and so forth. Income is 5,000, and expenses are 60,000. Okay. So those are account numbers. Now, again, you don't need to use it. It's not necessary. If you prefer to memorize your accounts by their names, which is, benefits you in the long run, that way you know that which accounts actually truly exist. Now, when we move into actually entering data into QuickBooks, you're going to see how much easier it is to enter in details, especially when you have it already preset. Because what happens is that when you already automatically fill in the data in QuickBooks, what it does is it allows you to quick fill, or in terms of Microsoft Excel, it auto completes. You just type in a few letters and it will pop up what you're trying to type in, and it makes everything so much easier. And believe it or not, we'll get to see that on Thursday. Yes. So here, that's how you activate your account numbers, is by going to Edit Preferences, Account, Company, and just toggling it on. Okay. So that is how you turn on account numbers, and this is our view of the chart of accounts. Okay. So the next section here is going to be understanding what to do when we need to add an account, delete, remove, edit, or even merge an account. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do the very, very first category here, which is to enter in a new item. Okay, so you have a few ways you can do it. So once you're in the chart of accounts, it's pretty straightforward. The way they tell you to do it is to go down to the bottom where it says account. You have a little drop down menu. Once you click that, you could go ahead and click new, and it's going to create a new account. Okay. Other ways you could do that is you could also right click on any place in the chart of accounts, and you can also click new. Okay. So once I've done that, here you go. Now I have to set up what my chart of accounts is going to be. So first thing it's going to ask is, well, what kind of account are you trying to create? Now, for the example in this class, I believe we are doing an expense item. Okay. And then, of course, you have beyond the categories, right? You have what's called subtypes. So let me go ahead and talk about that real quick before I move on to this. So as you can see, my assets are broken down to subtypes. Subtypes, right? You can have as the maximum of 5 subtypes per type, okay? So in this case, my assets is broken into 5 different other categories. We have the bank, we have accounts receivable, other current assets, fixed assets, and obviously other assets, which is your intangible assets. So you can actually customize these however you'd like as well. There's a way that you can do it. But in this case, these are preset already. Again, that's another notion for more advanced users of QuickBooks. But in this case, you can break down the account or the asset type into even further. And the maximum you can do is about 5 levels. So in this case, that's why I have a bank, accounts receivable, other current assets, and fixed assets. So there's more categories that you can actually go beyond than what's the simple 3 that we learned in accounting. Okay. So again, I'm going to go ahead and redo that. So I'm going to right click and click new. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an expense account, and I'm going to go ahead and click continue. Now, this is where it's going to ask me, well, if you're going to create an expense account, right? What are you going to title it? In this case, I believe it is going to be entertainment. Okay. Just like having a main account, you can also have a sub account. So if the main account is specifically like a general category such as inventory, right? You can break it down even further by creating sub accounts such as I sell regular coffee, I sell supreme coffee, I sell coffee mugs, right? That's all going to be under the main category of inventory. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and disregard that for now because, again, that's another advanced thing that you can have. And it's actually unnecessary to do because once you create your accounts, you don't need to be super, super detailed into creating more accounts because what happens is when we learn what items are, it kind of breaks it down even further, the main account. Okay? So description could be, what did it say? What does it say in the book? Just entertainment?
Sorry, I was following expense. Hang on, entertainment. Other miscellaneous. Oh no, wait.
No, it says entertainment expense.
Entertainment expense.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, perfect.
Expense in the description field and then press tab twice. Yes.
Perfect. So now that we filled this out, I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Close. Now, notice this. When you create your new item, first thing it's going to do is going to bring it at the very top. Okay, it's going to bring it to the very, very top of your items list. Now, notice this. I forgot one thing. I forgot the account number. So the great thing about this is what you can do is you can either double click it or you can right click and edit your information. Okay. You can also go down to the very bottom right here and also edit the item as well. So see, I can edit my account. So I can edit my account to reflect the account number, which is, I believe it's a 6200.
62,600.
62,600. There you go. All right. And then I can go ahead and click Save and Close. So that means you can make changes at any given time. And that's what makes it flexible for QuickBooks. But remember, if you're the accountant, you have more free range and free, you're able to do it. But for someone who is under you, the general rule of thumb is they always have to go up to you and ask you, is this okay to change? Oh, I forgot to do that. It's okay. We're learning as a general thing, okay? So there you go. I created entertainment. Now, I'm going to go ahead and create another, oh, bless you. I'm going to go ahead and create another account just for the fun of it. So I'm going to create a new account. And I'm going to create this as another expense account. All right. And then I'm going to click continue. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create meals or prepaid meals. Okay. So meals that are paid in advance for employees. Okay? Something random. And account number is going to be 61560. Random number, okay? And I'm going to click OK. Save and close. So now I have a prepaid meals and I have my my entertainment, and then I should also have entertainment, meals and entertainment. So I've created too many extra accounts. Okay. Now here's the rule of thumb. Now that I learned how to create an account, it's as simple as, entering it in new. Just as simple as that, you can also delete the account just as easy as well. Okay? But the rule of thumb is, if for any reason you have an account and you either made a duplicate or you don't use it anymore, there are a couple of rules that you can and cannot do. If for any reason you've already used the account, so for example, I just created my prepaid meals, right? If I ever use that account, then general rule of thumb is you should never delete it. Okay? Reason being is because if you use that account, that means it's all over your reports, it's all over, it's all over your expenses, it's linked to many different other transactions. So by you deleting that transaction, not only are you pulling out and you're actually ripping holes in all of your transaction. So you're going to have to go back and figure out where those transactions and where those discrepancies are. So you want to be very careful on deleting your accounts. But let's say I just created this brand new one called Prepaid Meals. I've never used the living day out of it. I can go ahead and just delete it. Delete account. Okay? And it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to delete it? You want to say yes, because I've never used it at all. So if I've never used it at all, it is okay to delete. So I'm going to say okay. So now it's completely gone and it is out from my chart of accounts. Once you delete an account, you can never undo it. So make sure that you also know that as well. There's no trash button in QuickBooks, nor there is a recovery button, okay? So once a transaction's been deleted and you press that OK button, that's it. It's done. It's gone, okay? Now, for instance, let's say I did use my entertainment account and I used it, right? But let's say I no longer use it because I don't use it anymore. But for all my past accounts or past transactions, I have used it in the past. So right now, my entertainment holds a value. The general rule of thumb here is you cannot delete it. But what you can do is you can actually inactivate it. Okay? And what inactivating does is it doesn't remove it. It actually just removes it from your current list. And it just hides it. That's all it's really doing. So right here, I can either click down below under account and make account inactive. And look, now it disappears from my entire list. Okay? I can also right click. Let's say, for example, I'm going to right click another expense. I'm going to do my interest expense, right? I can right click it and also make this account inactive as well. So now it's disappeared. Now, question is, where does it go? So what you're going to find is at the very bottom of the little tab right here, where you see your account, archives, and et cetera, you're going to see this little button here where it says inactive accounts, right? So if I were to go ahead and click this, I can actually see my inactive accounts. Okay? So now that I have these the inactive accounts visible. If for any reason you want to reactivate it, it's pretty straightforward. You have a couple ways that you can do this, right? You can either press the X that's right next to it, or you can right click it and you can activate it again. So here it says make account active. So there you go. Or you can simply just click that button. So here I'll show you both examples. So you can make account active again, or you can also press that little red X and it makes it active again. Okay, so that's the general rule of thumb when it comes to try to hide or you no longer use the account, but you can't delete it because there's numbers already used in it. So with that being said, that's how you remove or edit or delete the transaction. The only choices you have is you either delete it if it's not used or set it as inactive when you no longer need it anymore. Okay? And what that does is it actually clears up a lot of your stuff. So for example, if these accounts you used like 2 or 3 years ago, and if you set it as inactive, it does not appear on any single form until you activate it again. Okay, so that's pretty nifty on what QuickBooks can do for you. Okay. Next section is going to be, any questions in regards to that?
Nope.
Okay, so the next section is, again, we actually recognize, oh man, not only do I have entertainment, I actually have meals and entertainment in here. Let me find it there. Meals and entertainment. I just created another account and I used both accounts because, again, maybe the person who entered in the data didn't know there was meals and entertainment. They just typed in entertainment and couldn't find it. Not only realizing that they already have an existing account called meals and entertainment. So what's going to happen is, so let's look at meals and entertainment. It's 64300. Sorry, hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I had to kick my dog out for a second. All right, so back to this. So let's look at meals and entertainment. Okay, so meals and entertainment is going to be 64300. It says meals and entertainment just as is. Okay, so when we're looking at merging our accounts together, right? We see that we have two accounts that are similar. All right, we have one that is 62600 for my entertainment, and we have the 64300 as meals and entertainment. When you want to combine your two accounts together, you're actually going to select the one that you do not want. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select my entertainment, and I'm actually going to edit the file or edit the account. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're actually going to type in here. Oh, I hit the wrong one.
Equipment.
Yeah, you're right. I hit the wrong one. Okay, so I can also double click it and it will pop up the edit button. So once I'm here, what's going to happen is I'm going, oh, never mind. You can't double click it. I forgot. You can only right click and edit. Okay, right click, edit account. So what's going to happen is I'm actually going to change this, and it's going to be, you have to make it to identical to the actual account number that you do want to combine it with. So meals and entertainment. And the last thing was, it was account number 64300. If you're using account numbers, it is crucial that you match the numbers as well. If you're not using account numbers, all you need is just the account name. Okay. So here I've made it look identical to my meals and entertainment account. Once I click save and close, the window's going to say I have an existing account with the same exact name. And what you're going to say, and it says right here, would you like to merge them? And of course, that's what you wanted to do. So once you click yes, now meals and entertainment is one, and you no longer have your 62,600 anymore. It's disappeared. Okay. Now, rule of thumb here too is once you've made the merge, you cannot undo it either. So that's one of the things that QuickBooks does tell you is that if you do plan to merge two accounts together, just know that once you do it, you're unable to differentiate when you use the entertainment and when you use meals and entertainment. Because what's going to do is it's going to combine and convert everything to now meals and entertainment. Okay? Any questions in regards to that?
Question.
Yes.
What about granted we merged together
Uh-huh.
with the previous one, which was entertainment. Granted, there was an expense amount there. Will it merge also on that meals and expenses together?
Yes. Yes. That means if there's two balances in entertainment and then one balance in meals and entertainment, it's going to combine them. So that means you're not going to be able to differentiate which account you actually use because they're all going to be one. So for those reports that you had entertainment, they're going to be converted into meals and entertainment. So with that being said, you can't undo it at all. So once it's done, it's done. Okay? All right, now we're going to talk about how we can reorder the chart of accounts. Okay? There are a couple ways that you can do this. So as I've mentioned before, when it's defaulted, the order that is defaulted is based on account type. Okay, so as you can see, all my assets and all my liabilities are at the top. But what you can do is, if you prefer it to be in a certain order, you can actually organize it based on account name. So as you can see, all my checkings up here. But it's not going to, it's still going to keep the account type in order, okay? But it's just going to organize them in alphabetical order. So here my checking comes first, then money market, then savings. So all of these are going to be in alphabetical order. However, the one rule is that it's still going to keep the account type intact. Now, for example, if I want to do my account balances, I can do that as well too. If I want all my accounts to be at the top, by just clicking that, it's going to bring up my values from the greatest value to the smallest value. But obviously, this is my very beginning, so everything is 0. So it's going to keep it in the same order, but it's only going to reorder it based on account type. So notice that there is a key linkage, right? That no matter where you are in your account and you're trying to reorder it, it's still going to reorder it based on the account type, and then the other filter is going to come next. Now, another thing that you can do too is if you have your account numbers in order, then yes, you're able to actually keep this. This is going to be the order it's going to be in. That's already a given. But again, if you don't use account numbers, then it's not going to be obviously applied because your information, you can always add accounts left and right. It's not always going to be standard, or it's not going to be given, and you always have to create them. So you can always create accounts left and right. So this account number really doesn't really depict an order. Okay. Now I want you to see this little tiny black dot thingy. This is a diamond shape. What you can do is with this diamond shape, so I'm going to go to my expenses so you guys can clearly see this, is that it allows you to move the accounts the way that you want it. So let me see. Let's say I want to move my telephone expense, right? I want to move it above my office phone. See? That was just easy. But you have to put your mouse over the little tiny diamond, and once your cursor becomes the little navigation sign, then that's when you can go ahead and pull them either up or above. Okay? Now, there are a couple rules on what you can do when you're moving your items is you can only move them within its account type. So, expenses can only be moved within expenses. Your income can only be moved within your income. So
It
again,
automatically won't let you do it, is that right? Or it won't let you take it beyond that?
no, it won't. It won't. So, for example, if I want to put my expenses all the way at the top of my up here, and I want to put it up here, it won't let me do it. It will tell me this message. Okay, so there you go. And then on top of that, you can't move sub accounts under other main accounts. That's another rule too that I learned. Okay, so for example, so under telephone expenses, you can't just carry this out. You can't carry this out into another account. Oh, I guess well, for this time it could, but it wouldn't let you do. It wouldn't let me do it last time. But general rule of thumb is you cannot replace a main account with a sub account. Okay, so that's just reordering the chart of accounts. Okay. Any questions in regards to what you could do with the chart of accounts? That's pretty much all.
Nothing.
Okay. Now, of course, the next section is to be entering other lists. So again, that's going to be chapter 7, which is tomorrow. We're going to be talking about all these lists that you're going to be creating. So we're going to be looking at our items list. We're going to be looking at our fixed assets list. We're going to be looking at our sales tax list. So all of these things are going to be talked about in chapter 7. So I cannot talk about it today. Other things too is now it's asking you to enter in open balances. So we talked about this very briefly. Okay, there are ways that you can do open balances. So every time you create for example, your checking account, right? If I were to edit my checking account, at the very bottom of here, it says, what do I want my open balance to be? Or if I want to enter in an open balance. So again, general rule of thumb is, especially if you're starting if you have an existing company that you've been doing reports for, and then all of a sudden you start working with a QuickBooks file, you can enter this in. But given that you need a few things to have with you, you obviously need to have your bank statement. You obviously need to have your last trial balance that you've incurred in order to be able to place this information in here. Okay, so again, that is when I went to go to my checking account. I edit the file, and here I have enter in an open balance, and that's where you can enter in your open balance. Okay, now general rule of thumb is if you are starting from scratch, never, ever, ever use an opening balance, especially when you're entering in for your accounts receivable and accounts payable. That's a strict no, no, no. And the reason being is because if you enter in a total balance under your accounts receivable or your accounts payable, QuickBooks doesn't know who owes you this money. So no matter when you're entering in your bills and you pay them off, you're still going to have this empty balance behind the scenes. So what they say the next section is, in order to open up your other balances for your accounts payable or your accounts receivable, is by entering in all of your bills that are currently opened, meaning bills that you owe, that you haven't paid yet. And then that is all going to be chapter 4. The next section is to enter in any invoice that you have currently outstanding. That is chapter 2. Okay? So there you go. We're skipping all that now. Okay? So, so here it's next step is to do, now we've already talked about entering open balances, and we've enter in your accounts payable as well as your accounts receivable. Other things is going to be setting up your users and passwords. Okay, so we can at least look at that for now. Now, another thing that I want to also reiterate before I move on is that for any reason that you want to do simplify this and make your account, have those balances, you can actually enter in a general journal. Okay, so this is partially accounting 101. So in order to do that, you're going to go to company, and you're actually going to make a general journal. Okay, let me find it. Company. Make. There you go. Make a general journal. Okay. So this is what it looks like. Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you this just because, again, you can put your whole entire trial balance in here, but one thing that you need to recognize is if you are going to be planning to enter in a value for your accounts receivable or your accounts payable, that's a big no-no. We already said no to this. But what you can do here is you can set opening balances such as your equity, such as your checking account. You don't have to go to the checking and place it in there. You can do it through here by creating a general journal. Now, this is only if you have a company that's existing. And again, we don't actually use the journal for more than other than besides opening balances is actually, we only use the general journal for making adjustments. And we don't learn adjustments until chapter 13. So let's move on forward. Okay, so going back to setting up users and passwords. So again, because when you create your company file, you automatically become the admin. So in order to set restrictions for other people that are below you, so for example, your bookkeeper, or maybe you have someone that's strictly just in charge for accounts payable, or someone who's strictly in charge of accounts receivable. Here you go. This is where you can go ahead and set up users and passwords. So once we go here, you can set up users. All right. Now it's going to ask you, because obviously only the admin has the actual privilege or rights to be able to do this. So this one is capital SLEETER 18. Once you've done that, now it's saying, okay, well, first off, let's go ahead and create profiles or create user accounts. So the first one you want to do is you want to add a user. So here you have the admin, obviously it's you, right? You're the one who created the company file. So here is where you're going to create your users. So for example, maybe I only want someone to be strictly human resource, right? So I'm going to make this person HR, okay? HR, and what their password is going to be is payroll. I don't know. So capital P AYROLL 20. Okay. And then I have to enter in again. So it's going to be capital P AYROLL 20. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and click next. Now, this is actually creating an actual profile for this person who has only access to HR. Now, it's going to ask you a series of questions, okay? So, for example, okay, what do you want this user to have access to? So, do we want for everything, for selected areas only, or external accounts? And in this case, I want to select a specific area for them. So I go ahead and click next. Now, now it's going to ask you a series of questions in regards to what they have access to. So the first one is sales and accounts. Receivable, no access because that's not what an HR does. They don't care about sales. Next one is purchasing. No, they have no access to that. Next is checking and credit cards. I'm going to say they can have selective ones because, again, they need to be able to create the checks and stuff like that. So as a person who is part of the HR, taking care of the employees, yes, then I'm going to go ahead and say they can have selective access. Now, I want them to be able to create and print transactions. Next. So the next question is inventory. Obviously, no. They're not inventory managers. Next one is time tracking. Yes, they need to have full access to that because that is typically where the employees are going to be submitting their timesheets. So then next one is payroll. Yes, you want them to have full access to payroll. Next. Next one is sensitive accounting activity. No, I don't want them to have access to that. Sensitive financial, no, they're just strictly payroll. So charging or deflecting transactions. Okay, do you want...
Changing or deleting transactions.
Oh, sorry. Changing and deleting, no, they can't. Okay, so next. All right, now here you go. Level of access. This is just a review what they have access to, and you can go ahead and click next. And here they are. You have an account for HR. Okay, so just as easy as that, and you can restrict them. So if I were to log off this account and open up this file again and put in the HR's credentials, I'm going to get just only access to the payroll section or the employees section, which is this bottom part right here. Okay, they can only have access to that. So, cool. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this. So that's how you enter in users and passwords. Okay. Let's see what next section is going to be in here. So we already set users and passwords. That seems like that's it for this. Let me go ahead and scroll through this real quick just to make sure I didn't miss anything. So again, if you are doing from a previous company, when you're involving with open balances or anything like that, you definitely have to have two things, either a bank statement or your trial balance from the previous period. But again, if you're starting from square one, you don't need to worry about any of these things, especially if you don't have anything in your company to actually do. Okay, so yes, so entering bills is chapter 4. Entering invoices is chapter 2. Inventory is chapter 8. Multiple users and single users mode. That's pretty easy. Okay. Now, one thing that you need to know is if you are going to be planning to have that kind of access, you need to make sure that the QuickBooks is accessible on a single network. Okay, so meaning if you're going to your company is going to be using a specific internet that's only accessible to only the members in the company. So with that being said, if you can have that access to that, that is when you can go ahead and use multi-users. So for example, if I'm working at PETA, the whole PETA side B admin, the front desk, the 3 computers, 4 computers in the back, they're all connected into one network. So that means I could be in my office in the back of the room. My coworker could be on her computer, the boss can be on the computer and the front desk lady can be on the computer using QuickBooks simultaneously at one time. And that's called multi-user form. And in order to activate it, you're going to go to File, and here you go, switch to multi-user mode. So that means if I were to, since I'm the admin, I click this, that means I'm going to allow access from everybody's computer to go ahead and access the file at one time. If I do not toggle this, that means me, the admin, only has sole use of this file. Okay? Just a little FYI, a little learning there. Okay. All right, we reached the end. Wow, that was a lot quicker than I thought. But again, most of it is because all these concepts we will eventually learn throughout the rest of this class. So I had to skip around because I don't want to teach it to you, just to go back and reteach it to you again. So let's go ahead and do the review questions. So number 1, okay. Okay, so your company has decided to begin using QuickBooks at the beginning of 2019 calendar year, all right? Which is going to be the best date that you want to start?
C.
C is going to be December 31st of 2018. Yes, because they're starting the beginning of 2019. General rule of thumb is you want to use it the last day of the previous year's fiscal year, which in this case is calendar year. So December 31st is correct. Okay. Number 2, okay. Okay, this chapter suggests that the best way to set up A/R and A/P, so accounts receivable and accounts payable balances in QuickBooks is to...
D.
D is correct, is to enter each bill accordingly and to each enter in each invoice separately. Yes, good. Okay, number 3, setting up a company file does not include... Okay, let's see. It does not include A.
Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't include a business license. Yes, you're not. Honestly, you don't need a business license, especially if you're using QuickBooks for your personal, right? You don't need to have a business to use QuickBooks, and you're not applying for a business license. You should already have one if you plan to use a company file. Okay. Number 4, a good example of a liability account is
D.
D, of course, accounts payable. Okay. Number 5, last but not least, to ensure the accuracy of the information entered during the setup, it is important to...
Information entered during setup.
D.
C.
Trial balance.
Okay, so this one is kind of... The correct answer is C, is to start at the beginning of the fiscal year. Now, it does actually, I do agree, B should be an also equal answer to, because in order to for surely enter in the correct data, you should have the trial balance to be prepared with you, or else, you know, your books are going to be off by certain things. So yes, I agree. B should be an answer. I think it is an answer. But in this case, the correct answer is C. But yes. Okay. So, yes. Any other questions in regards to chapter 12? Okay. All right. So, like I said, because there's a lot of, you know, other chapters that are involved in this chapter, I'm just going to leave it at that. So today we end early, We end at 4 o'clock, so let it be. If you want to use this as a practice tool for yourself, you can go ahead and create the given profiles down here under the exercises here. Or for those who created the business plan, why don't you give it a shot and try to create your company using the business plan that I set out for you in the accounting class. So have fun with it, explore, check out what your options are, and yep, and we'll continue tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be chapter 7, customizing QuickBooks, and we're also going to be looking at how we enter in other lists, so such as entering your items list. So I'm excited for that. So if you don't have any other extra questions, you guys are free to go.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow then, guys.
Tomorrow.
I'll see you guys Thursday.